Avalanche just did the biggest upgrade in history. Etna, or what they call it, Avalanche 9000, is supposed to cut costs by like 99%. Now, I've got the retail brain. I look at the news, don't really understand it from the perspective of someone that's actually having a project on Avalanche. And so I think to myself, what's one of the gaming projects I got into? And just quickly thinking here, they actually have a perspective on what it feels like to build on Avalanche during Avalanche 9000. Is it actually a big deal? Or is it just another little thing that they say is really cool, but isn't actually cool? And so I went ahead, kidnapped Pasquale on the channel, the co-founder of Bloodloop. How's it going, buddy?
Hey guys, it's nice to be here. Doing fine. I'm doing fine. Excited to
Yeah.
try and answer some of your question and guide you through what might be good for games and with this new upgrade.
And talking about a gamer, because he needs to have the repertoire, he needs to have the skill level, also the experience in gaming. Right before this call, he told me, he's Italian, by the way, that he ate hamburgers and ice cream. So we know here, this is going to be tier one perspective. Tier one perspective.
Let's go.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So this is the announcement. It says Avalanche 9000 is live on mainnet, built for everything, build for everything. This is the start of, I don't know what it's start of, Goku or something like that. So you're building Bloodloop, and this token's been out for a little bit. I know you had a play test for this game right before you launched the token. And I presume you're working on some stuff, which we're definitely going to be talking about it on this video. What are you doing with this upgrade? And is it actually important?
It is fundamental to what we have been building for the past 3 years at Bloodloop. So one of the reasons why for our choice of building on Avalanche was what it's now called the layer 1 technology, which back in the days was subnets. So as a game, you need to be aware of the fact that when you're building for users that have no idea about blockchain and crypto stuff and what's a wallet or what's a transaction, you need to be aware of the fact that you have to optimize for them to be able to do whatever they want with the freedom they have in traditional gaming, so that when you manage to onboard the Web2 newbie, he won't be blocked from the tech stuff, from what Web3 brings in as kind of blockers in terms of user experience. And the kind of smarter decision we could have made back then was going and building something that is customizable to our needs. It is one-on-one with what we need in terms of requirements.
And what do you need?
We need a chain that is fully optimizable on the gas aspect, so you can remove or partially downgrade the gas fee elements in some ways. And you need something that is completely will be redundant there, but customizable to your needs in terms of SDK and APIs application, so that you can fully integrate it within your games. And at the same time, you need to be able to have a chain that is fast, reliable, secure, and doesn't really depends on anything else. You need something that is kind of limited and circled around your own network. The wisest choice there was either launching our own layer 1, doing a layer 2 on Ethereum, which was not our main priority back then, because of course it's pricey and you need experience to do so. You need a team that works behind that, which is not just a couple of developers or an easy spin up like you can do right now with Avacloud and all the Avalanche technologies they offer. And therefore we went for Avalanche and the subnet technologies. And with that, we managed to build our own layer 1, which is going to be launching in officially in mainnet in April of next year, together with the launch of the game, which is called Loop. And that is a gas fee selective layer 1, which allows us to remove partially gas fees from the end user specifically and abstract it from the players from specific transaction in the game, while still make sure that the ecosystem can benefit from gas fee generation using our token as the gas token for everything that is outside of the game but still built on the chain. The chain will be permissionless, so everyone can build on top of that, and it gives opportunity to everyone to create tools around the game or around the gaming ecosystem that will be deployed on Loop, as it's a multi-game chain. It's not just for Bloodloop as its own on its own, but at the same time we can make it so that everything is completely seamless in the game.
So do you think the meta for crypto gaming is going to be, you launch your game, so game's coming up, right? You want to turn it into an ecosystem, and so you build your own L1 for that. Do you think that's where all these games are moving for the most part? Because I feel like everybody is launching their own L1 or L2 or L14. Is this
I
the
think
meta for crypto gaming?
I think so, specifically because our mission, and I think everyone else's mission in the space, is to attract people from the outside. So you need to bring in people that have no knowledge about crypto. And when you do so as a business, the wisest choice you can make is to keep the value that you brought in just within your ecosystem. Like, and I know it sounds bad for the space because everyone thinks crypto blockchain games are the best PMF for product market fit for blockchain. So you bring the next billion users in because there are billions of gamers. The reality is that if I bring a million of users inside of blockchain, I want those million of users to spend their assets and to bring their lifetime value to my product. Therefore, I
Yeah,
build and optimize for them to stay within my ecosystem. And our own layer one is the thing that makes the most sense towards that business decision. We create for them a full ecosystem where they don't have to learn anything else, they don't have to explore, they don't have to study, and it's just built for them with the best user experience for a gamer, with the best customer journey from 0 to 1, so that they can do everything and bring value to the project, to the game, to the company, whilst they're creating value for themselves inside of the ecosystem. So I
that
think that's
totally
going
makes
to be
sense.
the play. Yeah, it's going
Yeah,
to be the play for a lot of games.
yeah. So a lot of games are going to be moving there. And so maybe we can talk about the advantages, because I personally don't actually know what the difference is from a cost perspective, from a project's perspective of building on an L2, or I think even base is like an L3 at this point. People are thinking about L4s versus just going on AVAX and doing a layer one on this new upgrade.
So I'm not specifically technical. I don't want to jump too straight into
Yeah.
details because I might be wrong on certain things. But what I know for sure is that right now the cost of spinning up a layer one with Avalanche after the Atom upgrade is ridiculously low. So of course on layer twos you have to rent the block space from Ethereum layer one, and you still depend on the layer one working to fully validate the blocks in certain points, because of course the blocks get accumulated and then at some point they get pushed onto the layer one, but still you have to go through a sequencer that has to bring everything from the layer two to layer one, and that's centralized and that's pricey and that's slow in certain occasions. With Avalanche Layer ones, you have validators which are synchronously making sure that your network is validated on top of the on the P chain on AVAX, but you don't really depend on that working for your chain to be fully functional working on itself. And the current cost of validating the network is extremely low after the upgrade. Before the upgrade, you had to stake 2,000 AVAX per validators, which
That's a
is
lot.
roughly, yeah, it's roughly $100,000 right now per validator, which is quite a lot. Right now, you're currently renting or paying a monthly fee to run a validator, which is way lower. I don't know the specific number. I had it somewhere.
I
So
heard it was like the price of a laptop or something like that, like $1,000 or something.
no, even yeah, even cheaper,
Yeah.
even cheaper, and
And so you're
that
renting it, but still, if you wanted to do the entire thing yourself, you would still have to do that 2,000 AVAX, or does it work
no,
different?
no. The way it works is, of course, you have to run the validator, so you need your own node, I would say. So you need your hardware, which is just a home computer can run a node right now on Avalanche. You need 16 gigabytes of RAM and
So
a
the average
fairly,
computer.
yeah, average computer could run it. Of course, it's better if you host it on a server provider for uptime. But apart from that, once you have the hardware, you just need to spin up the validator software, and you need to pay a certain fee per month in AVAX that needs to be loaded up in the validator wallet. And that fee allows you to validate the network. As a user, this allows you to create a validator that can permissionlessly validate all the layer ones that are going to be deploying on Avalanche. And as a validator, you will earn the rewards from every single network that you are validating. Because, of course, if a transaction goes through your validator, you get the fees from that block. So if I am a validator, I'm a user, I spin up my node, I start validating all the layer ones on Avalanche, and a lot of layer ones are popping up and a lot more will launch
Yeah.
shortly. I internally I know there are over 150 layer ones that are in pipeline ready to launch.
150.
Yeah,
And how
and
many exist right now in the subnet? Was it like 20 something?
I think there are at least 10 for sure that I know. More are in testnet. and there are a lot more that haven't launched yet, and there are a lot more we just don't hear about because they're just like built around a specific product. Like they have a strong partnership in Korea, for example, where they use subnets or layer ones now for loyalty systems. They have one for TSM with the loyalty app and esports. They have one for driver licenses in California, if I'm not
Oh, I
mistaken.
remember
Or
that, the DMV. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. And all of those are running on layer ones, and you could validate those. And every time someone goes in the DMV database and retrieves something and pushes a transaction, you're earning fees for that as a validator. Of course, if they are permissionless and they allow everyone to validate the network, which I think it's the long term thing that everyone should do because it makes sure that your network will never go down because you have multiple connection points and you're not relying on yourself. And for us as a company, it this upgrade cuts down the cost extremely. Um, we will initially run our own validators for the sake of kickstarting network. And initially, you had to invest over $500,000 into validators to do so because you need five.
Half a million.
And yeah,
Okay.
and now you just need a couple of thousand a month, maybe.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and
So
everyone can do
anybody
that.
could technically start up their own AVAX L1, pretty
Yep,
much.
yep, yep. And they also have spinning up a subnet right now from their CLI, which is basically their it's a compiled file that allows you to kickstart. I'm very non-technical on that, so
We
I
don't
beg
want to
your
like
pardon
destroy
for
people's
that.
brains, but
Yeah, yeah. No, you can start your own validator in just like I've seen a video people have speed run it. It's like
speed run.
35
Okay.
seconds. You can spin up a subnet in 35 a layer one in 35 seconds. And they also have AvaCloud, which is their own kind of infrastructure provider where you just go there, you register, and it's modular. You can select what you need, and they spin it up for you, and then you just pay monthly the fees that you have to pay for the subnet to run, to
Yeah.
layer one to run, and to remove subnet from a brain. And that it's super easy for businesses to start like that. So I'm very bullish on that.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, the easier it is, the better.
Yep.
And something I've kind of noticed is, I mean, Bloodloop seems to me like you guys are backed by Merit Circle.
Yep.
And Merit Circle today actually launched on Beam, of course, built by
Yep.
the Beam Foundation, nodes. And these nodes are essentially validator nodes for Beam. And like you were explaining to me how, you know, you need a certain amount of validator nodes to go ahead and spin up your own L1. It was like 5 of them, right?
Mhm.
And it costs like this ridiculous amount. These guys are trying to do like a ridiculous amount, like an unlimited supply of these in nodes. Do you find that to be kind of the next meta on AVAX? All these different projects wanting to decentralize through node sales or something of the sort?
So one thing about validators and nodes is that they don't necessarily overlap.
Yeah.
As in, they are not necessarily the same thing. There might be nodes on the network which are not actual validators, or they might have specific validation rules and subsets that makes the node the chain validators and everything. So I'm not extremely sure. I think nodes are a good way for projects right now to involve people on a longer term. They're definitely a better play than just releasing NFTs or doing airdrops or whatever. Because with nodes, you ask for value, but you give them an expected value over a certain amount of time, which is way easier to provide than a lot of value in a short term of period. Specifically, right now with the gaming market being not too hot compared to what it was back in the days, and compared to what it might be in the next 6 to 12 months from now.
Yeah,
So
that makes
if
sense.
you, yeah, I think a lot of projects on Avalanche will leverage the new technologies to create extremely cool tech pieces there that kind of overlaps validation, subnets, layer ones, and nodes. We are trying to do that as well with our upcoming crafting nodes, which basically accrue fees from everything that goes inside of the game, from everything that comes from crafting, from everything that comes from the token being spent on the chain as the gas token. So everything that happens on our layer one brings value to the node holders, and specifically everything that requires token to be spent accrues fees that go back to the node holders. And I think that's something that with the customizability that layer one offers is something that a lot of projects should take on to, because you guarantee value on the long term to your players, and you also make sure that they can invest in the success of your chain, of your product, and your game over a short, long, and medium period of time. Because of course they can get exposure through that and then accumulate tokens that they can manage however they want.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and they also get a stake of everything. So if the game is a success, they make
Exactly.
money. I know Off the Grid was saying, hey, like these guys are going to be decoding hexes. Depending on that, you'll keep some of those hexes. You get the creator fees.
Yep.
I mean, there's a ton of very creative ways to go ahead and make nodes work, but it feels like with Beams nodes, with Zai Sentry Tiny Keys, like the node meta is coming back, and it feels like it's kind of being built on Avalanche and Arbitrum right now.
I think so, because I also think like that's also where most of the gaming is concentrated right now. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what's next for Bloodloop? What's the alpha? Like, when are we going to be able to play the game again? Because I heard you were telling me in DMs there's going to be some big upgrades for Bloodloop.
Yep. So, well, starting off, we have been focusing quite a lot on the game's global launch. We've been building for the past 2.5 years now, almost three, and the game has come up to a point where we are finally ready for it to go to market within Web 2. So to actually get the players in and get their feedback. We did our first big public event in Tokyo this year. We were at Tokyo Game Show, and that was a huge event for us. We had people queuing up for hours and hours to play the game, and it was the first time they saw the product. And we were like, okay, maybe this is working. Maybe we build a product that is
Maybe
interesting.
they actually care. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that was a big eye opener for us. At the same time, the game is ready. Basically, we are polishing now. So end of March, April of next year will be when the game goes live globally. We are targeting a fairly big launch in Asia, Latam, and North America specifically. And off from that, we will be always public and live with the product. So the game goes in an always-on version, which is a complete early access state of the game. Before that, in January, uh, I'm not going to say the date, but it's marked down as the end of January. We will have our own node sale, as I was
Okay.
discussing briefly before, which is going to be priced in our own token. So it's basically a mint with our own token. We don't collect any fees from that. What we do is we burn the tokens.
So you're
that
doing the
we
same
get.
thing as Beam. You guys just burning
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly. It's a way for us to get more people to get skin in the game, and at the same time gives a strong boost to the ecosystem whilst we get ready for the global launch. And that's going to be happening in January, and then from February to March, we're going to be doing some bigger scale play tests to get ready for the global launch, so that we make sure that all the infra and all the servers and all the everything that we have is up to perfection to be ready to get played by what we hopefully will be hundreds of thousands of players, and then we go live basically.
And then I am assuming these playtests, are they going to have like a play to airdrop event or something like that? Like to incentivize?
There will be some incentives. It's not going to be
Okay.
specifically a play to airdrop. The next play to airdrop event will be paired with the launch of the game globally. So we're going to be pairing it with the Web2 activation. It's going to be Web2 plus Web3, and you'll be able to farm off Web2 users and get your rewards while they have
Farm
no
off
idea that
Web2
you're
users?
exactly.
The way you're
It's going to
saying
be
it is
fun.
hilarious.
It's going to be fun because there's going to be a lot of player liquidity. So one issue with play to airdrops right now is that a lot of people organize themselves to just farm the F out of the events, or they just
Yeah. Big
there are
time.
guilds. Exactly, there are guilds which are just ruining the events for everyone, or people that are playing with friends that just up within lobbies to make sure they can farm all the quests and everything. And I don't think that's good, and you cannot fix that unless you have players that are not farming the quests or farming the event and they're just playing the game. So we mix up the two words, and they will have to play and just face people that are just playing the game to get through their Web3 missions. And maybe we onboard new people to Web3 like that, because there will be missions available for everyone as well. But it's not going to be a big, events for the Web2 users compared to what it's going to be to the Web3 ones.
I think it's kind of hilarious because I could picture it in my head. There's some guy in some random corner of the world fighting for like his wage, his life for his Web3 airdrop, while some random dudes picking up
Just
Bloodloop
playing.
for the first time,
Exactly.
chilling. But it's interesting because I find there have been quite a few TGEs. I know Super Champs is a good example of this, where they do their TGE. They say, hey, let's let the airdrop farmers dump. So they do absolutely nothing for the next week. The chart's just terrible. Down. They get the airdrop guys out, and then they just moon it. And from my perspective, it's like, they understand that the airdrop farmers were not good for the ecosystem. They know they were parasitic. That's why they waited so long to do what they did.
But
And
they
I think
still
it's
got
not
them.
just them. It's many crypto games, if not every crypto gaming TGE that has had some kind of play to airdrop event does the exact same thing, where they let it rip after everybody goes ahead and exits. And it's just an interesting detail to what I think is a failing model in crypto gaming, play to
Yep.
airdrop in general. So it's good to see you guys are trying something different. And I mean, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully we'll have you on
Appreciate
again.
it.
Thank you for hopping on, educating everyone on the crypto gaming evolution on AVAX. Check out Bloodloop, guys. Link in the description. Thank you, Pasquale. I'll see y'all later. Stay
Thank you
classy,
so
y'all.
much.
And that's all.